Welcome, Marshall family. It's Homecoming 2020, and we are celebrating Herd at Home, Homecoming 2020. We are so excited to bring you this live Facebook event from the campus of Marshall University in the beautifully renovated Memorial Student Center lobby. We're joined this evening by a very special guest. You know him, he needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. He's here with me right now. Say a big hello to the president of Marshall University, Dr. Jerry Gilbert.
Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Sir, it's so great to be with you tonight. Thank you for making time to talk with us. And we'll talk a little bit about homecoming. We have
Absolutely.
A smorgasbord of topics to talk about.
All right.
But how about we tee it up and we start things off to share a little bit about the things that are happening at Marshall right now that you're most excited about.
Well, I was just thinking today about how things had progressed since I've been here, and something that just occurred this fall is we've increased our retention rate 6 percentage points. We are now at 68% or 78% retention rate, which is phenomenal. It was a jump from 72 to 78%. We've got a new program, the Friend at Marshall program, that connects with our freshmen. We've got some new programs, academic programs that we've developed that are exciting. Our aviation program, we are planning to build a new College of Business building down on 4th Avenue. Right. I'm particularly excited about the possibility of other developments in association with our business school. We have a developer that's working with us on a P3 project, which is a public-private partnership, and they're looking at possibly developing retail and some upscale housing to really sort of revitalize 4th Avenue and make it a beautiful entrance into Marshall and a beautiful entrance into the city. So I'm very excited about all those different things.
Well, if I recall correctly, that development project will begin right on Hal Greer across the street from Old Main and go toward downtown. Is that correct?
It will. In our business school, which will be called the Brad D. Smith Center for Business and Innovation, we think will be a couple of blocks or a block or two off of campus going towards downtown, really as sort of an entryway into downtown, connecting the campus with the community downtown.
Awesome. If you've just joined us, we are live in the Memorial Student Center. We're speaking with Marshall University President, Dr. Jerry Gilbert, and we're ready to take your questions. If you have a question that you would like President Gilbert to address and provide an answer for, please add it to the comments on this live event, and we'll get to the questions here in just a little bit. But this is our opportunity to get to know your president, Dr. Jerry Gilbert, a little bit better, and we're going to go a little bit deeper here with some of the things you just mentioned. There's no shortage of great things to talk about when Marshall University is the subject. Let's talk about aviation. And we have new construction at Yeager Airport, right? We do, and it started about a month or two ago, the new classroom building and the hangar. We hope to have it finished by next fall. We're going to start the program next fall. Bringing in the first class 20 aviation students, flight students, in the Bill No Flight School at Marshall University in connection with our South Campus, or South Charleston campus, and the Yeager Airport. So the classroom facility is being built right next to the runway. Our planes will fly in and go right into the hangar, and it's going to be an amazing opportunity for students. Absolutely. And let's think a little bit, maybe speak to the economic impact you foresee this program having not only on Marshall, but on the state of West Virginia.
Well, we know that there's a shortage of pilots right now, and this program is going to fill that need. There's been a little bit of delay during the COVID pandemic, but it's predicted that within 2 years we will be back to the point where there will be tremendous demand for pilots, which will be right before our first class graduates. So we'll be putting new pilots into the West Virginia area and also into this portion of the eastern part of the United States. We also have another program at Tri-State that we're starting, another aviation program, which is in conjunction with Mount West Community and Technical College, which is the first program of its sort, where a 2-year and a 4-year institution are working together to jointly offer a degree. It will be what we call an A&P school, which is a maintenance school for aircraft, and we will be offering an associate's degree, a 2-year degree, and on the diploma will be both the name of Marshall University and Mount West Community and Technical College.
Nice.
This particular program we think will attract a MRO to the area, which is a repair facility for airplanes, and we think could add a couple of hundred jobs to the area. So it's going to have a tremendous economic impact on this portion of West Virginia.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Well, you know, you also mentioned the new facilities planned for the College of Business, the Lewis College of Business, the Bradley Schools Centers of Innovation. Let's talk a little bit about where that building is going to be built.
Well, we haven't decided exactly. We have a parking lot, which was the old Shope's Glass, and that's sort of the site right now that we're thinking about. We also have in the play the Marshall Plaza, which is where Huston's Pizza is. So we will probably have some retail there, and then the business school down on that parking lot site.
Yeah. Let's stay in that same vein with the College of Business, and let's talk a little bit about the new business incubator and the iCenter.
Right.
You know, we have a new director, Mrs. Tricia Ball. Let's talk about her.
You know, I've never met her, but I've heard such great things about her. I've seen videos of her, and she has a lot of enthusiasm, excitement. The small business center from downtown has just moved into the incubator. I think we have 2 or 3 tenants. We were sort of slowed down a little bit by COVID, but I think with Ms. Ball in charge, she's going to attract a lot of businesses. We hope to renovate another couple of thousand square feet in the basement area to expand the incubator. I think it's a great opportunity for people that want to start a business to have a spot to get some help. The iCenter, which is the innovation center in the College of Business, provides seminars, provides information to people that are starting out a business. How do you do it? How do you do a business plan? How do you manage a new business? So we're excited that we have that to offer people, entrepreneurs in the area that might want to start a business and might want to just have a safe place to get going, and that's what the incubator will provide.
Absolutely. What tremendous opportunities to bring to Marshall University in the Huntington area. You know, talk about maybe some of the different industries, different business, the areas of commerce that could benefit from using the incubator.
Well, you know, probably the most, I guess, expanding business that we know of right now is that related to technology. So technology companies, information technology companies, ones that would need support related to conducting business online, you know, cybersecurity. We've got a cybersecurity company there.
That's right.
Probably more of the tech-oriented businesses would benefit from the incubator.
Yeah. So if there are alumni or folks in the community that are really interested, maybe not so much in putting their business in the incubator, but maybe lending expertise to support, what would be the avenue they would take?
They would contact our College of Business, and they would probably work with the iCenter, the Innovation Center, which is where a lot of these services to business, outreach services to business are being coordinated.
Perfect. Perfect. If you're just joining us, we are live from the Marshall University Memorial Student Center lobby. We are chatting with the 37th president of Marshall University, Dr. Jerry Gilbert. And my name is Matt Hayes. I'm the executive director of Alumni Relations, and this is Homecoming 2020. Can you believe Homecoming is here already, sir?
You know, I can't believe it's autumn or fall. I mean, it's just, I thought it was summer, you know, last week, so
right.
The time has flown in
It
a lot
has
of ways.
flown by, but here we are. It's Homecoming. Man, we are having a fantastic football season.
Oh my gosh.
You know, isn't it fantastic?
The best since I've been here. Ranked 22 in the country in the AP poll.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. It's so exciting to watch, and you can see the team on the field this year. They have each other's back. They are playing together. It's a brotherhood on the field out there, and it's so fun to watch.
Oh, it's exciting offense. We've got a tremendous defense.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
like number in the top 5 in the country. I mean, it's unbelievable season.
That's right.
I feel
big game coming up Saturday.
Big game with Florida Atlantic. They've only played one game this season, and
Well,
they
they've
played
been
Charlotte.
riddled with a lot of cases of COVID-19.
Yeah,
from what
and I understand. I think they're going to be okay. I talked to Mike Hamrick today. He said he hadn't heard anything otherwise, so it's full speed ahead at this point.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Of course, they're the reigning champions, of Conference USA for football.
That's right. That's right.
But they've got a new coach. Their coach went and jumped ship, went to Ole Miss.
Right.
Right. So I think there's probably some uncertainty there. Certainly, they've only played one game, so who knows? I think they'll be good. The question is, how good will they be? Not as good as the Herd, though, I'm sure.
No, that's right. That's right. That's right. Excellent. Again, we are live here on Facebook with your president, Dr. Jerry Gilbert, and we're taking your questions. If you have questions, please put them in the comments, and we will get to your questions here in a few short moments. Sir, let's shift gears a little bit. And I know you took a trip to Europe last year, and you rode your bicycle.
I rode a bicycle, not my bicycle.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us about that trip.
Well, I've been riding quite a bit since I came to Marshall. I started back bike riding about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And once I got to Marshall, I started riding quite a bit, talking to other riders. And a friend of mine in Charleston, Casey Robinson, and I started talking about, well, it would really be fun to ride and bike in Europe. And, Casey started investigating this, and he kept sending me these examples. And finally, he sent me one where we would go down the Danube for 4 days. And I said, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So he was able to go over before I did. So I flew over into Munich, got on a bus, not speaking any German, a bus that I'd read would take me to the train station north of Munich. So I get to the train station and I, use signals and get a ticket to Passau, which is on the river,
right,
which is a German town at the corner of Austria and Germany. Mm-hmm. Spent one night there and got our bikes and took off the next morning and rode, I think we rode 50 miles a day for 4 days. So we rode 200 miles.
Oh, my goodness.
From Passau to Vienna, Austria.
Oh,
it was phenomenal.
I can only imagine the landscapes you were able to see.
Well, we were along the Danube the whole time, and particularly when we first started off, it was a lot like West Virginia, lots of mountains. Mm-hmm. We were surrounded by mountains, the river and the bike trail, and then as we got closer to Vienna, it got flatter, but met a lot of interesting people, had a lot of great food. Love the Austrian beer, I must say.
Absolutely.
It was a great experience. I would do it again, and Casey and I have talked about trying to do it again as soon as COVID's over. Absolutely.
Well, I know you love to ride around here.
I do.
I've seen you. I've seen you out and about.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of interesting things on the bicycle riding around town.
I have.
Anything to share there?
Well, I probably know where every pothole in town is.
We have a few of those.
Matter of fact, about 2 months ago, I was in Cerrito, and I had just turned the corner, and I knew there was a pothole down there. And, sometimes you get distracted. I don't get terribly distracted, but I hit that pothole head on, blew the front tire out. So, I didn't think I'd be able to change it, but I changed the tire and I got home. But not that trip, but a couple of trips later, I'll tell you something very interesting. I like to go down James River Road. I don't know if you know James River Road.
I do. I know it well.
I love James River Road.
Yeah.
So I like to go out early in the morning, so I've got a light on the front and the back. So I was out at daybreak, and it was a cold morning, and I had a jacket on. And I got to the top of the hill. It was still a little dark.
Yeah.
And I saw a light, and I said, well, I'm going to take the jacket off. And I said, and since I'm at the top of the hill, I'll just stop here. So I stopped, and I said, when the car passes me, I'll resume my ride. So I'd taken my jacket off, and I was sitting there, and the car starts slowing down. And I went, oh, I wonder what this is. So the guy rolls down the window, and he goes, do you need any help? And I said, no, I'm fine. And he said, I'm just worried about you out here. He said, you need any water? He says, I got some water in the back of the car. I said, no, I got water. He said, well, you stay safe now. And I thought that was the kindest thing. And I think only in West Virginia would you encounter something like that. And to me, it was just heartwarming to have someone stop and ask me if I was okay. I said, no, I'm just taking my jacket off. I got a little hot. That's when he said, you want some water? And I said, no, I got 2 bottles down here. So that was a really nice experience. I've had lots of great experiences on my bike.
Yeah.
Great experiences.
Oh, it sounds like it. Wow, and that trip to Europe. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of scary on James River because you ride right beside the railroad tracks, and occasionally the train will be coming and you'll be like maybe 8 feet from the train.
Yeah, and then you have traffic coming alongside you.
Yeah.
So you like to live on the edge a little bit there.
A little bit.
Very good. Again, welcome everybody. We are live here on Facebook in the Memorial Student Center on Marshall University's campus. We are chatting with the 37th president of Marshall University, Dr. Jerry Gilbert. We're going to take some questions now from that you have submitted. We have a couple in the queue. You'll know this first one, sir. This comes from our very good friend Pam Galloway-Tabb. You remember Pam and Roy?
Pam and Roy,
it seems like
great
just
friends.
Yesterday they were here serving as our grand marshals for homecoming.
Absolutely, a wonderful couple.
Hi, Pam. Hey, Roy. It's good to see you guys.
Roy.
But Pam is asking what she would like to know more about Marshall's diversity and inclusion program and what Marshall is doing to educate employees in this area.
Well, we started a group about 2 years ago called the President's Commission on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And that group has been meeting and has recently sort of been revitalized and energized by Dr. Tim Melvin. Right. And he has a new group of commissioners, and they this summer started talking to me after many of the peaceful protests around the country about what we could do at Marshall coming up this fall. So we kind of decided that we would form this informal group, and we got probably about 8 people together, and we call it the Coalition for Anti-Racism at Marshall. And it's sort of a brainstorming group. And a couple of things came out of that, and directly to answer Pam's question, we decided that we would do some diversity and anti-bias training for employees, and we actually rolled that out last week. Turns out we already had that in a software package that Marshall had, so we were able to do it at no cost. We'll be training all of our employees. I'm also inviting my Board of Governors to take the training. I previewed the program. It's very good. It's a great reminder of things for you to do. Excellent. There are 2 other things came out of our discussions this summer. We talked about, I thought it'd be a good idea to do a campus book reading. I have a little book club with the Yeager Scholars, and we had read the book Just Mercy, which is a fantastic book about the criminal justice system. And some of the biases there. So I suggested that we do that book. And a lot of people have been reading it, and we've had 2 discussion groups. We had one just last week. We also created some town hall listening sessions to talk about racial issues in the community. We've had 2 of those, and I think we have 3 or 4 more of those planned this academic year. So we're excited that we're doing some things to talk about racial issues, about diversity, and about inclusion. And I think Marshall is a very welcoming place.
It is.
A very inclusive place. And I want to make sure that people think about that on a regular basis and think about respecting other people and how to empathize with others and how to include them in ways that you might not normally think about.
That's right, and no matter how well informed we are, we can always. There's always more we could learn from one another.
Absolutely.
We need to do all we can to do that for one another. Great question, Pam. It's great to hear from you, and hope you and Roy are doing well. We have another question from Jason Hall. Jason's in Greenville, South Carolina. and he would like to know when the business school construction will get underway.
Well, our best guess is next fall. We're in an active planning process right now. Every Monday we meet at 4 p.m., a group of about 5 or 6 on campus with the developer, which is Fairmount Properties. We're in the planning stages right now, so we hope to get it all planned and ready for construction next fall.
Awesome. Awesome.
Or ready for groundbreaking next fall.
Exactly.
Not construction.
That's right.
The start of construction.
Well, speaking of new construction, let's take one more question. This comes in from Danny Fields, and Danny's asking if there are any updates on our baseball stadium.
You know, the baseball stadium sort of got put on hold because of the inability to fundraise during COVID. And we've got the property.
Right.
We've raised several $1 million, and we are sort of waiting to get through this season before we go back hard again. But still hope to build that stadium. Want to look at the design, see if we can keep the cost down, and build a first-class stadium.
Absolutely, absolutely. Herd Nation, we want to wish everybody a happy homecoming. It's Homecoming 2020. Herd at Home is our theme this year for Homecoming 2020. We are in the middle of a pandemic. We are all masked up. We are practicing social distance. We are doing all we can to not let this pandemic keep us from having a homecoming celebration. And we've looked at many of the great things that are happening this week, and you've been involved in a lot of the activities. One of the things that students always look forward to is the crowning of Mr. and Miss Marshall, and that's typically part of the football game on Saturday. But due to some other factors, that's going to be taking place a little bit earlier.
On Saturday morning. I think it's 10 o'clock. We're going to crown Mr. and Miss Marshall at that time. We'll videotape it, and then that will be shown during the game. So we figured that would be much easier than trying to get we can't go on the field.
Right.
The Conference USA rules say that only if you are in a testing protocol can you be on the field. So none of the court would have been tested. So we have to do it off the field and then broadcast it back. So.
Right. So we're doing our very, very best to bring a homecoming celebration to the Marshall family during a pandemic season. And we're very proud of the hard work that the university staff and the team in Alumni Relations has put into making the opportunities available to alumni and the Marshall family to engage and get together. The virtual events this week, everything from bingo to Jeopardy trivia, Marshall trivia. There's so much to do all week long, and we want everybody to plug in and be a part of it.
You know what I miss most about this homecoming that we won't get to have?
What's that?
The fried fish at the Black Alumni Association.
Amen.
Oh my God. I look forward to that every year. That's the best fried fish.
I know.
And I love fried fish.
I do. And that's part of the traditional family tailgate we have every year. And I'm going to miss that. I'm already missing it. But hopefully next year.
I am so much looking forward to the end of this COVID pandemic and getting back to normal.
Oh, yes, sir.
Can't come too soon.
And I know you are too. Trust me, we're in this together and we're getting through it. We're going to make it. Talk a little bit about the pandemic. Back in the spring when we had to really kind of cut things back. You went on the campaign trail. You were making some videos.
Oh my gosh!
You remember that?
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, we had a stay-at-home order, so we essentially closed the campus down for about 2 months. And after about a week, I started getting a little stir crazy, and I had my war room set up in the dining room table.
Right.
And one morning, someone said, well, why don't you make a little video to tell the students about what you're doing? So I made this first video, which, I really didn't know what I was doing. I'd not made videos before. But then after I made that one, I said, well, I got some ideas. So I started making, and I kind of called them lighthearted. My wife said they were a little goofy, just on the edge of being too goofy, you know.
Right.
But I wanted to do something fun for the students to sort of encourage them.
Yeah.
I also wanted to let them know that I was experiencing some of the same challenges that they were experiencing, and to tell them to hang in there. So it was fun doing it. I sang a little bit on some, played some music. It was fun. It was fun.
I could tell you were having fun.
Oh yeah.
You're a natural. You know, you're a quick study too. So picking up the way to do videos. You know, you're a monster on Twitter. You know, and all the selfies and everything. So you know, it's no surprise that you would be a quick study with the videos.
You know, I taught a class back before I came to Marshall. The last class I taught was about 8 years ago, and I decided in that class, I was an administrator, so I was doing it, you know, part-time. So I decided I'm going to get my students to do videos and they weren't smartphones at that point. They were just handheld cameras. So I had all of the students do videos as their projects, which I thought was kind of neat.
That is neat. That's really neat. Well, hey, how about we take another question from a viewer? This next question is from Ashley. Ashley's from Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Ashley. And she would like to know, with the 50th anniversary of the plane crash fast approaching, what are the plans to honor the 75 this year? Wow.
You know, you can't see it, but right over on the other side of the center of the chimney or the fireplace, we have two screens, and we have the We Are Marshall movie showing 24/7. I thought it would be neat to have that going in the student center with subtitles so you can read what's being said. It's no audio.
Right.
That, and then as you walk outside, which on the way in I stopped and looked at a few of the banners. We've got banners depicting all of the 75 individuals that were part of the plane crash. And it's a very moving experience just to walk among those banners and think about the individuals. That's what's going on right now. Leading up to the week, the first part of the week, we're going to rededicate the Marshall Football Memorial statue, which was in front of the Pike House on Fifth Avenue. It's been sort of refurbished a bit, and it's going to go down next to the rec center across from the stadium. I believe that will occur on Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. I forget which day. Then on Friday of that week, we are going to do a private ceremony at 4 p.m. in the Joan C. Edwards Playhouse. And it will be a posthumous commencement ceremony for the 37 students that perished on the planes. We discovered that they had never been granted a posthumous degree after having passed away, and we thought that that would be a very fitting time to do it this year on the 50th year. Then on Saturday morning, of course, the traditional fountain ceremony, which I think is going to be a very special ceremony. We're going to have to socially distance, so we are limiting the seating on the plaza. Probably only the family members and a few friends and a few invited guests will be on the actual plaza itself. But we're going to set up over on Buskirk, and I think maybe beyond the plaza, some additional seatings, and we're going to have some screens up there so people can view the ceremony even though they're not down on the plaza. It will be at 9 a.m., which is earlier than what I've experienced so far because they've moved our football game to noon. So we had to push the ceremony earlier. So it's going to be a crisp morning, I'm sure. It always is.
That's right. Even crisper at 9 a.m. instead of noon.
Exactly. And we have Lucy Ann Call is going to be our featured speaker.
That's
I think it's going to be a very moving experience, as it always is, but certainly very different and very meaningful on this 50th anniversary. It's hard to believe it's been 50 years. I was thinking that most of those students would be in their late 60s, 70s now.
Right.
So, you know, we think of them as sort of where they were back then and not their age progression. So it's been a long time. I can tell you that one of the questions you said you might ask me that you haven't asked me yet, what surprised me most at coming to Marshall, and I would say that one of the things that surprised me most about Marshall was the strong tie that was between the community and the university, and I think that goes back to November 14th, 1970. That tie is so strong at Marshall, and you feel it.
Yeah.
You know, every time I walk by the fountain, I'm reminded of those individuals. This center, this student center, is the Memorial Student Center, and we've got now a very beautiful display of that team, of the 1970 team, where you can go and touch screen and pull up each player and each coach with information about them. So the memory is strong, the memory is real, it's here, it's palpable when you're walking around on campus. We have not forgotten, they are a part of us, and they will always be a part of this campus.
That's right.
I think that's what makes our football program so unique at Marshall, is that tie back to that fateful day, and then that rebirth of Marshall football with the Young Thundering Herd. I should also mention that this Friday at noon, we are going to be dedicating a street after Reggie Oliver, naming it the Reggie Oliver Pass. And that will be
Charleston
that's
Avenue,
15th Street, Charleston and 15th Street, behind the new apartment complex, the Fairfield Landing. It will be that street.
Right.
So I'm very excited. Reggie's mother's coming up from Alabama.
Fantastic.
And it will be a very special occasion. I remember that the last fountain ceremony that Reggie was at, he was in a white suit.
I remember.
And he sang Patches. I mean, it was a performance that I will never forget. I love Reggie.
Yes, I do too.
He always came to see me every time he was on campus. And just, you know, those memories of him are just so strong. And he was tied, of course, back to that team, the 1970s team. So there are lots of people like Red Dawson in our community and others that tie straight back to that team, and certainly give us that historical perspective and that memories, and the family members, as I mentioned, Lucy Ann Call and others, Patricia Proctor, others that I know that have those experiences, that, you know, had those tragic losses. So it's a very powerful thing in this community, and a very powerful thing at Marshall University.
Yeah, it sure is. And you know, I think the plane crash definitely forged, you know, the university and the community together in a very meaningful way. But you know, there's been so much adversity over the years in Huntington, and you know, Marshall's been here all along. We've, you know, I think back to the floods in 17 and 37.
Right.
You know, throughout the years, you know, Marshall and Huntington have just risen together, and you know, I'm a proud son of Marshall, as are you. And I know when you were considering coming to Marshall to be our president, you attended a fountain ceremony before accepting the position. Isn't that correct?
Well, I had accepted the position before starting the position.
Oh, okay.
I was actually, I had a meeting in Indianapolis, Indiana on Monday, I guess, and I started looking at the calendar, and that would have been probably the 16th or so. I said, well, you know, if I rearranged my schedule, I could fly through Huntington and go to the fountain ceremony. So Gary White arranged for me to get a hotel room.
Nice.
Flew in, and he took me down to the plaza that morning of the 14th, and it was like nothing I'd ever experienced previously. Met Lucy Ann Call that day, many other people. It was a very powerful and very moving experience to be a part of.
And it is every year. It's a very moving tribute, and you know, it's something that I know we will never discontinue. It's woven into the fabric of who we are.
Well, and I've started writing some comments for this year's ceremony, which is going to be a little, I think, different, more powerful. But you know, as I say, and have said many times, that the plaza is a very special place. And on that day, the 14th, it becomes a very sacred place, a very holy place.
Yes.
Where we remember the 75 and we evoke their memory, and we We say their names and we place the flowers around the fountain. It's just so moving as an experience as a Marshall, the son of Marshall.
Right. And as we alluded to a little bit ago, the circumstances surrounding the pandemic are going to negatively impact our ability to be all together on the plaza like we're accustomed to. But let's talk a little bit further about the impact the pandemic is having on the university and how Marshall has really successfully managed the number of positive cases in comparison to some of our surrounding neighborhoods, and what else is being done.
Well, we weren't sure how to approach this when we first started, and we spent a lot of time talking about different options, and we decided that if we could sort of de-intensify or spread out the number of students so we didn't have so many students on campus at the same time, that we would stand a better chance of being able to contain the virus. So we made the decision, as some other schools had, that we would only do face-to-face classes for freshmen, and then for graduate students. We would do laboratory sections for all students, but that really reduced the number of students, I would say, to about 25%. The first day of class when we started, I walked through some of the main lecture halls on campus, and it was very sparsely populated, which I thought was a very good thing. We employed virtual delivery of lectures, synchronous delivery, so that the students would see the lecture live when they weren't in class, and we split the size of the classes so that they were at 50% of the classroom capacity. So if you, one day you may be physically in class, and the next class meeting you would be watching it with a Zoom or a Teams technology. So we were able to effectively do that. We've required masks from the very beginning, and we've been very, I think, good about that. Our students have been good about it. I see students outside, which we don't require masks outside. Many do wear their mask out.
Yes, they do.
I will walk upon someone in the plaza who's eating, and I'll walk up to them with my mask on, and they'll say, "Wait a minute, Dr. Gilbert," and they'll take their mask out, and I say, "Well, you don't have to do that." "No, I want to do right," and so it's, I've been very impressed. Our faculty have stepped up. Back in the spring, they had to switch from face-to-face to a remote delivery in a period of a little over a week, and it was phenomenal what they did. And this fall, many have employed a lot of new techniques in the classroom to effectively manage a online class or a synchronous class. And I'm very proud of our faculty and very proud of our students too. I think our students have taken it very seriously, and I think that's why our numbers are not any higher than they are. We do testing out on the plaza now every day. I think they're going to move inside when the weather turns a little rainier and colder, but we've been doing about 140 tests a day. We randomly test the population so that our goal is to get about 10% of the campus population each week. So over 700 tests a week. And our positivity rate has been 2% or less. So that, I think that's very good.
Yeah, that is very good. Thinking about our, that's our situation now. Let's think forward to next semester. We have a question from Jennifer. Jennifer's from Williamstown, West Virginia. Hey, Jennifer. And she would like to know what the plans are for next semester for students and faculty, and will there be more face-to-face instruction?
Well, we are operating out of abundance of caution. We will try to probably conduct the campus classes about as we have now. There may be a few more face-to-face, but we're going to try to keep the number of face-to-face classes to a minimum as we did this semester. We don't think that we will see a dramatic change until mid-semester or the end of the semester in terms of a turning around of the pandemic. We're hopeful that a vaccine will be available sometime in the spring. But we know that the college students, which are the lowest risk students, are probably going to be the last ones to get it, because there is going to be a pecking order of who gets the vaccines, with the most vulnerable being the first, and then working the way down to the least vulnerable, which would be young college-age students.
That's right. That's right. Well, we want to pause just a moment and say hello to everyone who has just joined here in the last few minutes. This is Homecoming 2020 from the campus of Marshall University. We are coming to you live from the Memorial Student Center lobby here in a renovated space. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh my gosh, it's just night
gorgeous.
and day.
I know, I love it. And we're speaking live with the university president, Dr. Jerry Gilbert. And sir, I'd like to shift gears just a little bit and go back to the personal side a little bit. I understand that your daughter and son-in-law just made a big move. Can you tell us about it?
Well, that's an interesting story. My daughter Sally and her husband, both in D.C., and back in January they decided they would get a dog, and they lived in an apartment in D.C.
Yeah.
So they got this small puppy who has grown and grown and grown. And then when COVID hit, they went virtual as in their jobs, as everyone did, and they decided that they were tired of being in D.C., so they decided they'd come down and visit my wife and I for about 2 weeks. So they brought the dog down and stayed with us on Ritter Park for about 2 weeks, and they loved West Virginia. They said, we've got so many more opportunities to be outside than we do in D.C.
Sure.
So they went back to D.C., and then they came back another time, and Sally works for Bailey Glasser, and she had a friend in Charleston who was another attorney, and she said to Sally, why don't you look for a house in Charleston? And we thought, this will never happen. And sure enough, they found a house, bought a house. They moved to Charleston about a month ago. They're working on it. They're do-it-yourselfers. They got a little fixer-upper, and they're just having a blast over there.
That's great. It's got to feel good having your baby girl closer to home. Closer to you.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's tremendous. That's tremendous. So let's talk a little bit more about the family side of things. We have a great question from Delaney. She wants to know how the Gilbert family celebrates Thanksgiving.
Well, we've done it different ways, but typically my side of the family would all gather in one home, usually our home back when I lived in Mississippi, and we would have probably 20 people in for the day. A few would stay overnight, but that's been going on in the Gilbert family since the 60s. We've always had a big Thanksgiving celebration. It's my favorite holiday, actually. Since moving to West Virginia, we haven't had quite the same tradition. We've had our daughter Sally down a couple of times, but it's been more with friends than with family these last couple of years. So we're looking forward to the day when we can be back with family for Thanksgiving. Like this year, Sally and Dave will be over for Thanksgiving.
Exactly, right. Absolutely. So you mentioned Thanksgiving is your favorite holiday. Would you care to elaborate as why it is your favorite?
Well, to me, it's just there's no pressure like there is at Christmas.
True.
There's football. It's great weather. A couple of years ago, there's a guy that works in Starbucks named Steven. I forget Steven's last name, but I'd run into Steven on campus. He was a freshman, and he was talking about Thanksgiving. I said, well, why don't you and your friends come over to our house? So we had like 4 students came over and joined us for Thanksgiving dinner, and that was fun. And now every time I see Steven, he goes, you look a lot like Dr. Gilbert. Do people tell you that? And I say, yeah, sometimes they do, Stephen. Sometimes people tell me that.
Oh,
he's got quite a sense of humor.
Yeah, he does. I know who you're talking about.
You know Steve.
I do. Oh, that's funny.
But I've always loved Thanksgiving. The food, love the food.
Yeah, now are there leftovers usually at the Gilbert house?
Oh, for about a week.
Okay.
And they're just as good leftover as they are. They're actually better.
I think they do get better.
They do get better.
Yeah.
And we've got dishes, that I make, an asparagus casserole I have to make. I like to make the stuffing sometimes, different things.
So it's a team effort.
A little bit. My wife will let me do it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I mess up too much, I'm not as clean in the kitchen as she is. So.
Well, that's funny because the way we work at home, I clean up the messes, you know. So
I'm not good at that.
I'll take that detail all day long. But,
yeah.
You mentioned Lee. Can we talk about a little bit about how you two met?
We were both graduate students at Duke in biomedical engineering, so we were both nerdy engineers.
Awesome. And how many years of marriage now?
Well, that was 82, so that'll be what?
82?
38?
28 years. Yeah, congratulations.
38.
38, yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's right. Wow. Everybody, we're so glad you've joined us. We are live from the Marshall University Student Center, Memorial Student Center. And this is Homecoming 2020, and we're having a live chat with University President Dr. Jerry Gilbert. Sir, we have
I can't believe that people don't have anything better to do than to listen to me at night. They must be bored in the pandemic, you know?
Well, you know, the pandemic has forced us into a herd at home.
All sorts of things we got to do, right?
That's right. That's right. So we are rolling with the punches and doing the best we can with it. So let's take another question. We have a question from Annette. Annette wants to know, what are some of the best volunteer opportunities for alumni across the country to get involved to support Marshall in their communities?
Well, I can tell you the best thing that you could do as alumni to support Marshall is to identify high school students in your area and go tell them about what a great university Marshall is and send them to Marshall. Right. You know, I think getting together with other alumni in your communities is a great activity as well.
Chapter network.
Chapter network. It's always fun to be around other people from your alma mater, so I would suggest that. But certainly helping us recruit would be something that I would very much like for them to do. So Annette, that's what I would suggest. Go out and help us recruit some high school students to Marshall.
That's right. We'll take them all, absolutely. Well, we have another question from Jim. Jim wants to know, with the rise of esports at colleges and universities across the country, are there any plans, or is Marshall considering adding or exploring esports as part of the curriculum?
Well, I don't know if it's would be part of the curriculum. We do have a lot of computer science related, and I think we probably do have a few gaming courses in terms of writing software for it. And I know that students here on campus do participate in gaming. That's a little bit outside of, because of my age, it's a little bit outside of my area of expertise, I should say.
Yeah.
But certainly Conference USA, our athletic conference, is talking about esports and actually hosting an esports tournament during the basketball tournament this next spring, if we're hoping that we can have a tournament.
Right.
So that they would have the playoff at the basketball tournament.
Excellent. You know, you mentioned basketball. That's right around the corner. And
it is.
Anticipation, expectation is great because, you know, when the pandemic hit.
Right. We were at the conference tournament.
We were in Frisco, Texas.
Exactly. I was getting ready to go down there, and they called it off, and I said, well, I guess I won't be going there.
Well, I flew home the day after the game, and it all happened so fast. It was like, oh no. But it hopes for a another big successful season this year.
I think we're going to have a great basketball team from what I hear, and I think that would go great piggybacking on a great football year.
Absolutely. You know, and with the pandemic, it's going to cause us, looking at how we can accommodate fans, or but everything, it's such a fluid situation, and it's difficult to predict and pinpoint what measures will be employed.
You know, the one thing we learned last spring was that we had to be prepared to, tilt at any time and change plans and be ready to adapt. And we got good at it. I mean, we knew that, we had to change things. If things weren't working, we would change them quickly. And we were able to do it. And I think that's what we have to continue to do, is to be adaptable and be able to change with the situation.
That's right. Well, with your leadership, I'm confident we can do that, sir.
Well, that's very kind of you to say that.
Well, it's sincere. I mean it. We have another question. This is from someone viewing. Her name is Amanda. She's from South Point, and she would like to know what are the biggest differences between living in Mississippi and West Virginia.
It's the mountains, my gosh.
The mountains.
Yes. Oh my God.
Everything's flat in the bayou. Right?
Oh, everything's flat in Mississippi. And Amanda, I came to West Virginia when I was a high school student in 1973. I was selected to be a part of the National Youth Science Camp. So I'd never been to this part of the country at all. Flew into Charleston, spent the night in Charleston, had a dance that night at the country club. Then we took buses out to Camp Pocahontas and just had a month experience in the mountains with other science campers and just had the experience of my life. And from that day forward, I have sang the praises of West Virginia and love West Virginia, have loved it since 1973.
Well, I have to be honest, you're doing your fair share. You're doing your part to endear yourself to the natives of West Virginia. We've embraced you. You're one of us. So
well, the people of West Virginia are very much like the people of Mississippi.
Yeah.
They're just down to earth, salt of the earth people.
Right.
Common folk.
Right. Tell me or tell us all a little bit about some of the foods that are unique to Mississippi that you can't find here, and vice versa.
Well, you don't get good fried catfish up here like you do in Mississippi.
Only at homecoming.
Well, that's not catfish. That's
yeah,
actually whiting, which is
right.
good fish too. But
that's right. That's right.
In Mississippi, they're very particular because they raise catfish there. They want to label it as Mississippi catfish. So
oh, wow.
In the stores, it's labeled. This is the real stuff, and this is the import. So. Also crawfish, it's kind of Louisiana, but it's very popular in Mississippi too. You don't see that much up here also.
Right.
You'd never see a pepperoni roll in Mississippi. No one would even know what that was if you were down there. So, that's something very unique. Also, you don't find any hot dog stands or restaurants in Mississippi. There's probably not a single one in the whole state. No.
Oh my goodness.
There are places that will serve you a hot dog, but there's not a place like Stewart's or Sam's or any of those. There's nothing like that in Mississippi.
Oh my goodness.
So people here are hot dog crazy.
Well, we like a good hot dog here in West Virginia.
Oh yeah.
Well, we have a few minutes left, and I would like to, sir, give you an opportunity to, just kind of go into anything you would like to share as far as what surprised you about when you came to Marshall and took over as president. Was there anything that was surprising or maybe not shocking, but that you thought, wow, I can really make a difference here?
Well, what attracted me to Marshall was I felt like the quality programs that we had that many schools don't have. To have a medical school and to have some of the professional schools was a real advantage. I was in New York City right after becoming president, and I was meeting with an investor group up there that handles the Marshall investments. And there was an individual that was from Lehigh, and I was saying how much I was impressed with the Lehigh marketing materials because I'd been following Lehigh for a number of years. And he said, but Dr. Gilbert, let me tell you something. He says, Marshall University has something that Lehigh will never have. And I said, and what is that, sir? And he says, you have a medical school.
Yeah.
He said, Lehigh will never have a medical school.
Wow.
So you need to take advantage of that. And it really made me think, we do have a lot of things, a beautiful engineering complex.
Yes, sir.
Physical therapy, pharmacy, nursing, medicine.
That's right.
We've got programs that many schools don't have, and we have realized potential. And I knew that the research potential at this university could be tremendous. And when I came here, we were spending about $23 million a year in research. This past year, Charlotte Weber, who is our VP for Federal Relations, and John Marr, our Research VP.
Right.
They have been able to help move our research needle up to $50 million this past year. I mean, it is phenomenal. The faculty have written great proposals. We are doing great research. We've become a research university. We were not a research university when I first got to Marshall.
Right.
We were a master's large university in the Carnegie classification.
Right.
And we've been named a Research 2 doctoral institution. Very proud of that accomplishment.
Absolutely.
It puts us in a different category of schools.
Absolutely.
And our graduates have now got added value to their degrees as a result of that classification. So I'm very proud of what the potential we have here at Marshall and where we've come and where we can go. I think we've got a lot of room to move forward still.
Oh, the future's definitely bright.
Yep.
Absolutely. We want to say thank you to all of you for your questions this evening. This is Homecoming 2020 from the campus of Marshall University. We're going to wrap it up now and say thank you to all of our viewers that submitted questions, for all of you spending time with us this evening, making time to celebrate Homecoming 2020. Heard at Home is our theme this year. You know, we're surviving this pandemic together. But Dr. Gilbert would like to bounce past to you and give you the final word before we
Well, I just want to thank all of our alumni for their support of Marshall. We've got incredible alumni that have been very generous with their time and their resources. We've got fantastic alumni. You know, I watch Joe Johns on CNN in the mornings and I go, he's from Marshall.
That's right.
You know, everywhere I turn, there is a Marshall grad out there doing great things. So
That's right.
I'm proud of what Marshall has achieved. I'm proud of our alumni, and I'm proud of the current students. We've got a tremendous group of students at Marshall, and we're looking to create opportunities for all of them for the future.
Sir, thank you again for your time. It's been great to chat with you this evening.
It's been fun.
Happy homecoming.
Happy homecoming. Go Herd.
Go Herd. We'll see you next time. Everybody have a safe, happy homecoming 2020. Herd at home. Until next time, this is Matt Hayes signing out.